Hello, and welcome back to the Follow Your Spark podcast. It's your host, Gina Casbaro, and I'm joined today with Colleen Broersma back on the podcast almost a year and a half later, maybe more than a year and a half later. And I am so excited to reintroduce this incredible human to you. Colleen is a somatic healer, energy medicine practitioner, and she helps women create safety in their body so they can expand their capacity to receive more love, more ease, more joy, more of the desire they haven't, more of the life they desire that they haven't been able to hold. And she does this through all kinds of beautiful practices, frequency healing, yoga, somatic practices, and she really works at the nervous system level, clearing old beliefs, fears, generational trauma that people carry that has them contracting instead of expanding. And many of her clients see this glimmer of what's available to them, and they've done all kinds of work, and yet their body hasn't caught up to that yet. So she really works on this embodied level to help people expand their capacity. And I've experienced some of her incredible meditations, and they are definitely activations. And I just felt called to have her back and have a powerful conversation today. So, Colleen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me again. I can't believe it's been a year and a half. Wow.
I know, it's wild. So, yeah, one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you on, and listeners, if you've been listening to the podcast recently, you know you've been hearing about belief and the power of believing in things. And when I was thinking about that, Colleen is definitely someone who came to my mind who has the power to believe in things. And as we're talking more about the power of activating your vision and imagining different futures for yourself and everything that that takes, Colleen has definitely been an example of that for me, and I'm excited to talk more about that. So if you are listening to this and you're like, yes, I would love to believe in myself, I would love to believe in what's possible, stick around. So, Colleen, the first thing I want to ask you is when you hear this phrase of vision or think about vision, like what does having vision mean to you?
So it's funny you asked that because for a very long time, most of my life, there really was no vision. Like I've been tracking it and tracing it. I mean, I was the little girl who never dreamed about her wedding or dreamed about what I would do in college or what would happen after, or I never had a plan. It is wild. Like I can trace this and track this back for such a long time in my life. I kind of coasted through life. I never completed college. I ended up at a restaurant job after losing a different job and kind of said, okay, this will be a stepping stone to the next thing. And I stayed for 15 plus years. And I saw my life doing that. I was never going to aspire. I never had any aspirations or dreams or anything. And then I had a big life change, a couple of different life changes. And each time that affected me in a way where I was like, okay, what am I doing? Who am I? Why am I here? And it was a slow evolution of a wake up call through each different thing that happened. But for me, having a vision now is really deeply connected to my purpose. So that's where I've been exploring since, the last time I really stepped into having a vision was recently when everything that I thought I was working towards and everything that I thought I wanted, and my whole identity came crashing down around me, and I had to reimagine my whole vision. But it's been an interesting procession of no vision, coasting, coasting, coasting to like my whole world explodes and I have to reevaluate. I have to look inward and, figure out what am I doing? What is my purpose? What is my vision?
Mhm. Yes, I love that. And one thing that you shared that really stood out to me, and I can imagine many people listening could probably resonate with, is sometimes it takes a breakdown, a dark night of the soul, a big shakeup for us to really ask ourselves these questions. And if we're coasting and things are kind of humming along in a certain way, it might not be that catalyst that we really need to make a change. And you talked about these like big life changes really shook things up and were this kind of like wake up call to be like, wait a second, how do I really want to live life? So, yeah, I'm curious too if someone's listening to this and they're maybe going through one of those moments, is there anything that you would want to tell them in that moment?
they're going through a moment of deep uncertainty, of I almost want to say hope, hopelessness, despair. Just know that it is a season. It is a season and everything is temporary and it is a moment, a catalyst for growth and for change. It is happening for you, not to you. And even though going through it is really shitty and scary, um, it really is this beautiful portal of growth and transformation happening on the other end. And just to try to stay in faith, try to trust, because it's so hard when you're in it. Like I can sit here and say that, but it's so hard when you're in it. But the biggest thing I think I'd like to impart is even when you're in those scary moments of uncertainty, what I have learned is that you are always held, supported, and resourced.
Yeah. And I know you've been through a lot of big things in your life. And for listeners, if you haven't listened to her first episode, I'll put that in the show notes as well, because I know we go deep into your history and your past and some of those really powerful and profound moments of change and loss and grief and everything that that sparked. So we'll definitely put that episode there too. And what I'm curious of right now, you talked about going from, okay, you're worked in a restaurant, I think you said for 15 years, and now you're doing this incredible, beautiful, like energy healing work. Do you remember a seed or a moment where you could like trace the thread back that either like ignited a vision or even like the spark of something? Or yeah, I'm curious of like how do those dots connect?
Okay, so right before my whole life changed, which was the death and loss of my partner, if you listen to the old podcast, I was actually in Paris with him celebrating my birthday, and we were both having these really deep conversations about how we weren't happy in our lives. That, like we were happy with each other, our relationship was really solid, but we weren't happy with our current, jobs. And we weren't feeling, as I say now, I didn't have the terminology for it back then, but we weren't deeply satisfied. There was no satisfaction, there was no joy, we were just going through the same thing every day. And what I know now about the nervous system is, our nervous system craves that familiarity because it's safe. Even if it's to the detriment of our own well-being, we're going to keep doing that same thing, like Sisyphus going up the mountain with the boulder, coming back down. And we were kind of living like that, more maybe of a Groundhog's Day, just doing the same thing every day. So when we got back from Paris, which he passed away before we could come back, we planted those seeds that we were going to change our life, that we were going to figure out, again, I didn't have this terminology back then, what sparked our joy and work towards that because we were both thinking life is too short, not knowing that his life was ending very shortly. But we didn't want to be unhappy in what we were doing. And
Yeah.
we knew that there was more.
Yeah.
So we were going to make the changes to create that. And that was really, I'm sure there were other seeds planted before that, like my first yoga class, which is when my teacher in that class said, "Who is your true authentic self?" And I'm like, "What's that?" Like, so it was just little sparks, but that one is the most prolific one that stands out, and I promised him after he died that I would do that. I would find out what it is that makes me happy and follow those sparks. And it's been a whole journey, which is why I'm sitting here in front of you. But that was probably the most prolific one.
Thank you for sharing that. And it always moves me. That story is so profound. And I released a podcast episode last week about this. How does following your spark and setting goals go together? Because sometimes when people hear me talk about following your spark, it's like, oh, does that mean you have no direction or no goals or no like aims? And for me, they really go together. And what I hear too is, especially at the beginning, it's not like you have to have the rest of your life mapped out. What I heard and what you said is like there comes this moment of being sick and tired. And I'm laughing because I was on a call with one of my spiritual teachers yesterday and I was with him in Peru at a moment and I was expressing to him that I was sick and tired of something happening in my life. And he was like, great. Sick and tired is the perfect place to be because when you are sick and tired of something, that's when you're actually going to be called to change. And it's like what you said of like when you're just humming along and the nervous system is comfortable with that familiarity, even though it might not want it, there's not going to be that catalyst to get you moving in a different direction. So this conversation sounds like it was that moment of this is not enough for me. This is not the kind of life I want to be living. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not deeply satisfied. My life in certain ways is not sparking my joy. I'm sick and tired of this. And we're declaring together that we're doing something different. And it sounds like there was this like line in the sand, vow, promise something to yourself to make this change. And you didn't need to know exactly what was going to happen after that. It was just that kind of declaration of this is the kind of life I want to live. And then it sounds like you followed different sparks after that moment that guided you and showed you the way. So, yeah, is there anything that's coming up for you as I'm sharing any of this?
Yeah, you were talking about getting sick of like being in it, like I'm just sick of it. And I've done a lot of studies over the time. I am in human design 1-3. I don't know if anybody listening to this knows much about human design, but one is like a teacher, somebody who's constantly learning and then educating, and then the 3 is the experimenter, the scientist. So I'm kind of like learning things and then blowing my life up, learning things and then blowing my life up. But part of my incarnation cross in human design is the gate of limitation. And the gate of limitation, the way it was explained to me is, I am limited. I hit a wall, I hit a wall, I hit a wall, but I get so sick of my own shit that from that gate of limitation, I innovate.
Hmm.
Um, and I wish it would be a little bit more easeful. I ask for it all the time. I'm like, why do I gotta learn so hard? Uh, but I do. I get so, and that was, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, I imagine, like, but the point where I just hit of the darkness and despair that I was just currently moving through, I did get so sick of it that I had to draw that line and say, okay, I can stay like this, or I can shift this, change this, rearrange it, and I can believe in myself.
And it's like I resonate with that so much, and I've definitely had breakthroughs in this the last couple years of being more appreciative of the challenges, the mess, the hitting a wall moments, because I'm just like, oh wow, this is such a deep teacher for me right now. I don't have to resist this so hard. And even in moments of like loss or grief that I might have experienced recently, I'm able to have to meet that moment with much more of a friendliness than I was able to in the past. And I feel like when we're able to do that, it can become an alchemizer. It can become a moment, an opportunity to change. So, yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about tell us what you experienced recently and how that showed up.
Okay. This is the second time I've talked about this. So it feels very big for me to admit this out loud. When my boyfriend died, he unknowingly to me left me a large sum of money to help me after he was like he had just done that the month before, not knowing that he was going to die at the age of 44 from cardiac arrest. So he had left me this large sum of money, which put me into shock. Money has Scarcity mindset is probably one of the biggest core wounds that I have been working on, along with the unworthiness. It's all one big ball tied together. But scarcity mindset, I've always lived in lack-based consciousness, never enough. Growing up, we were very quote unquote poor. My dad died when I was really young, and my mom wasn't working, and we had wealth. So I've always lived with the less than mentality. So when he left me this money, my nervous system went into shock, and there was a lot of guilt and shame. And I essentially spent it as quickly as I could, even though, and I kept hearing people in my mind going, "This is your retirement. You're taken care of now. Don't spend this. Save it." What I did was actually spend it on a lot of beautiful trainings and went to Bali and Mexico, and I did a lot of important, beautiful things with this money. But the intention was is that my business, because in the interim, I did a yoga teacher training. Then it was 3 yoga teacher trainings. Then it was Reiki training. Then it was 4 Reiki trainings. And then it was all of these different healing modalities. So I did spend the money on some really beautiful things to support my own healing and journey. But then I did run out of it. My business never supported me. I didn't work this entire time, other than teaching yoga and seeing clients, but it was never something that fully supported me. And when the money ran out, I was here in Florida. I had moved from Maryland. I was here in Florida, and everything that I was working with my clients on kind of splat. all over me, and I had to live my own. I basically had to live what I taught to everybody else, like a deeper embodiment for me. I feel like it was very intentional that this all happened. And I went deep into survival mode. I don't even know how to compare it before, but I went deep into survival mode. I shut down, I froze. There was so much darkness, despair, and hopelessness that I couldn't even access my own healing tools. I never, there was a choice point to leave the planet. I never wanted to take my own life. It wasn't to that point, but I also didn't want to be here. But I did hear spirit. I did hear God come in and say, all right, you have a choice. You can stay here. You can face this. You can alchemize this. You can transform this, or you can leave if that's what you want. And I looked up and I said, over fucking money, excuse my language, if you're not allowed to say that, you can bleep it out. I go, no way. I am not letting money be the thing that brings me down. I have overcome drug addiction. I mean, hardcore drug addiction, alcoholism. I have overcome the loss of my partner, my father, my best friend. I'm not letting money be the thing that brings me down. But I sat in that darkness for a while. And the thing was, is that when my partner died, I didn't even feel this bereft because I jumped into a training. My trauma response was to do for 5 years. With this, I had no more money. I didn't have a job. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. There was no trainings. There was me sitting in my emotions and feeling my emotions and oh, so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, like these are the pivotal moments of our growth, right? This is where our soul really finds out its essence, its truth. And I sat in that darkness for a while. It was not overnight until I still think about this. I'm trying to figure out what the actual moment where I said, enough is enough. But it was small moments. But the first thing I remember is thinking, this is bigger than me. I need help. So I reached out to a mentor and teacher who worked with me through the frequency level, through the seven subtle bodies. She's a medical intuitive, which I am also. So we worked with the cells and the organs, but I also reached out to a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I also started to be able to access my own healing tools and techniques. I call them my daily devotional practices. So it was small and incremental, but I started to claw my way out of that darkness, out of that despair, out of that hopelessness. I found a part-time job that was really instrumental in giving me purpose, getting me out of my house, getting me out of my head, and allowing me to be part of something bigger than myself. But in that interim, I put down my business. I put down everything that you talked about in the beginning and said, obviously, I'm not supposed to do this. Because if this was supposed to be my purpose, God, if this was what you wanted me to do, then why isn't it working? So much anger, so much rage. Like, why the is this not working? So obviously, I'm not supposed to do it. So I put it all down, except for yoga. Yoga was the only thing I didn't put down. And I do believe that that is probably one of the biggest catalysts to being able to sit here in front of you was having that practice to bring me back into my body, to start to create my own capacity to receive more because I can't help other people do what I do if I haven't in my belief is that I really truly have to embody it and live it myself to be able to support other people.
Yeah. Wow. So it sounds like there was no avoiding this. There was no way to, I mean, there could have been plenty of ways to avoid it, and you chose to sit with this. You chose to feel it. You chose to move through it. You chose to not resist it. And I'm curious of now, even like the little bit or however far you feel like you've moved through this, what do you feel like is the gift or value of you going through this that is going to serve your future clients, serve the evolution of your work? Like, why do you think this was important for you to go through?
I really do believe, like what we were talking about, it unraveled so much in me. It was really this believing in myself. Like I had no belief in myself. This tanked my confidence, my self-esteem. I felt lower than low. So I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that my gifts mattered. I didn't believe that I mattered. I thought I'd done so much work on this, right? So the biggest thing for me was realizing that there was so much self-loathing, shame, guilt on the way I spent the money on the way I done the things that I did. And again, there was just this, we've talked about this in the past, this really loud belief that if I was supposed to do this, it would be working. I would have clients to sustain my business. I would be able to support myself financially. So I put it all down, like I
Mhm.
said. So that I truly, truly am seeing the miracle that is happening where just believing in yourself. And also there was a whole lot of surrender. I'm like, okay, if I'm not supposed to do this, then what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. No, we've been talking so much about belief, and you came to believe a workshop that I held recently. So I'm curious too of what difference did that make to even just like be in that conversation of belief and start to see yourself from different perspectives and start exploring like what changes when you start building belief internally.
So it's been really interesting just listening to your podcast. Thank you for what you do, by the way. Like listening to your podcast, doing that workshop with you, and you ask these beautiful questions that really spark something within me. So, like, I have my journal right here in front of me, and I'm looking at it right now. Like, what dream would I love to believe is possible for me? But for me, it went even deeper. Like, what do I believe about myself?
Mhm.
What do I believe I get to have? And it was just, it's night and day now from where I started, but there was this belief that I didn't deserve, I didn't get to have people like me because I didn't finish college. I don't get to have a fulfilling life. I don't get to have abundance and wealth and love. My partner died, so that was it. No more love. It's done. People I love die, like all these things tied in together. So it really sparked really diving into the negative aspects of what I believed, and then getting to rewrite that story and starting to have hope that I got to have more. So that workshop was just really powerful because then I wrote down what what do I believe I get to have? That I get to be happy, that I get to live a life of abundant joy. I get to live my purpose and I get to create and I get to support others. And it was just like, and there's still work I'm doing around it, but it was like going from here to sadness, hope, despair to possibility, potential,
Mhm.
creation.
Mhm. Yeah, so powerful. And one thing I'm hearing, and I know you and I have similar philosophies on many aspects, one of them being like the importance of this nervous system work and this embodiment work. And while all of that, I 100% believe is so transformational and important to work through things somatically. And if we do all that work and don't also address the thoughts that say, I don't deserve this, it's never going to work out for me, it should have been easier by now, we're just going to come back to those thoughts that end up draining our energy so that we have to keep going in this cycle of like never ending meditation and somatic work and all these things to try to also address this like root cause. So if we're
Mm.
not also doing both, it can feel like this cycle versus like going to those thoughts of like, how might it not be true that it should be easier by now? Or how could it be true that this exact moment is actually exactly what I need to build the business? And Spirit is like, you asked to build a business. I'm helping you. I'm helping you by giving you an opportunity to be a product of your product. And instead of seeing it as evidence that it's not working, it's not possible for you, and it's like we build beliefs all day long. People don't realize. And when I think about belief work, I talk about it as a skill. And it's something that for most people, it happens subconsciously. It's going on under the surface. We're constantly looking for things to reinforce our beliefs. And if we have negative beliefs, the brain is just going to keep looking for evidence of that. That's what it does. It's a machine, it goes where you direct it. So if we direct it to questions like, why do I deserve to be happy? Why do I have so many gifts that are worth sharing with the world? All these things, we can build that belief. And it sounds like when you started doing that, like little like rays of like sunshine or light or like hope started coming through that like broke up some of that darkness.
I mean, absolutely. And again, your workshop was just so like what was probable versus possible? And I even had last night before I went to bed a whole thing come in like you're not ready to do this podcast, you don't know what you're talking, and I just looked up and I said no. Like I am catching the self talk, the
Yeah.
negative talk like instantly, and I'm like compassionate with it. I was forceful last night. I'm like, no. Most times I'm like, thank you for trying to protect me. I hear you. I love you. But that thought is not true. That thought is not true. And I'm going to choose to believe in myself and that I am capable of sitting here and having this conversation with you and being the authority of it because I'm living it. I'm the lived experience of it.
Yes, so good. And I think about this often of having this like loving authority with ourselves. And there's something of when it comes to thoughts, one of my teachers talks about unintentional thoughts and intentional thoughts. So unintentional thoughts are when our brain is just like offering us thoughts. We're not really aware of them. They're just like going on in the background. But as soon as we become aware of them and start repeating them, then they become intentional. We're choosing them. We're
Oh,
aware of them, we're choosing them. So it's like it's up to us to have that loving authority sometimes and say, no, no, thank you. I'm not going to repeat that to myself. It's like if a kid is like asking for candy, 10,000, it wants to eat every single piece of candy in the Halloween bag. You're like, no, that is not going to make you feel good. We're not
yeah.
doing that. And it's like sometimes you need to have that loving authority with yourself of like, there's a time and place for like, yes, compassion and all of that. And there's a time to just say, no, we're not doing
No, no, I'm not gonna spiral out about this.
Yes. So,
Uh,
yeah, I love that moment.
yeah, and I also created a new belief last night. I decided that
Oh.
this being on your podcast, one person, two people, three people listen, whoever listens, it is going to be the trajectory that shifts everything because I'm
Mm,
going to meet someone or something is going to happen. I'm just believing that this is going to be a trajectory point, a portal
mm,
uh, that is going to shift. It could be big, it could be small, but there is going to be a beautiful result from this. And I'm choosing to believe that where before it would be negative mind, negative mind, negative mind. So again, thank you for what you do because this was derived. I wasn't able to pay Gina. I wanted to work with her, but I wasn't able to pay her. And I was with my current financial landscape. So I just started devouring her podcast and reading her emails, like reading them. And I took her Believe event, and it's just powerful stuff when you can start to have the potential to even think about believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and so it is. And what I'm really excited about too, and this I have a workshop coming up on August 13th called Activate Your Vision. And one thing that I talk about and think about is as soon as we even declare something, like you just declared something out loud, I believe that spirit is listening to that. I believe the universe is listening to that. Also, you are listening to that. Your heart, your intuition, your energy. Like when we speak to water, there's been experiments of what happens molecularly when we say beautiful things versus when we say terrible, mean things. So, like you just saying, may like this podcast, I'm just declaring and believing that it's going to be a catalyst for beautiful things to unfold in my life. It's like that has a ripple out energetic imprint on you and your body. And then you start looking for evidence in the future after this of, oh, how did this inspire me? Oh, I shared it with someone and this conversation happened. You start finding evidence for all of that. And I really believe that's the power of activating a vision, activating a direction. When I think about vision, I think about it's like a North Star that we're heading towards. So I'm curious too of when this, spark of inspiration after Believe happened, was there a new vision that opened up? Was there a new something that you started aiming towards after that?
Yes. So this time of the year, we're in the Lionsgate portal currently. And when I started my healing journey, right after Lou passed away, I started yoga teacher training the same time as the Lionsgate portal. And I started my Reiki training the same time as the Lionsgate portal. And this time of year has always been, it's like my favorite cosmic holiday. So I have done an event since 2019, sometimes multiple, to tap into this energy. And if you're not familiar with the Lionsgate portal, it is a sacred alignment between the earth, the star Sirius, and the sun. Star Sirius is our galactic sun, and our sun in the sign of Leo. And it's about transformation, heart awakening, spiritual illumination. And Leo is heart medicine. It's about courage, trust, faith, illumination, I like to say. So the Lionsgate portal has always been very significant in my life. And as I said, I'd put my business down. I had stopped doing anything. I had a 12-week program client just end, and I was sitting there thinking, You could do nothing. That doesn't mean failure. Or you could trust yourself. You could believe in yourself. You could put something out there, and if nobody shows up, you still you're still doing something. You're still executing towards your vision, your goals, your purpose, your dreams. Because I'm starting to dream again, right? I'm
Mm.
starting to dream again. So I sat down and I asked Spirit to guide me. I asked God to come in and download whatever it is that would support myself, because my healing is your healing and vice versa. Support the people that would show up for it. And I downloaded a three-part series,
Mhm.
which is new. I've never done that before, for the Lionsgate portal, which opened yesterday. Yes, the 26th. I'm like, what day is it? Opened on the 26th. We also have so much other beautiful cosmic weather going on. Jupiter is in Leo, which is the planet of luck and abundance. The North Node of Destiny, you were just talking about the North Star, moved into the sign of Aquarius, and the South Node of Karma is moved into the sign of Leo. We've got all kinds. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't want to speak to it too much, but we've just got a lot of beautiful potential cosmic weather happening. So it just feels really soul aligned to do this right now. So this Lionsgate portal, the very first part of it, I pre-record it. It is a clearing. And I work through the level of frequency with this. I channel source, divine, God through all the different healing modalities that I have learned. I've kind of created my own little thing. And we start to clear from the cells, from the organs, from the tissue, from the fascia, from the nervous system, from the seven subtle bodies, the belief systems that were never ours to carry, that we've taken on from generation, from past life, from past life. And I have conversations with the organs. In this one, we talk to the spleen, which is the shame and the guilt that we hold on to, that when imbalance can cause apathy, we can disassociate, disconnect. It was beautiful. There was a lot to it, but we start to clear these belief systems that live in our body in a cellular level. Now, I do offer other components to that when I'm doing the 12-week program, just to clarify, because I believe, like you said, frequency isn't just the way we have to have the other important parts to start working on the beliefs at a core level, at a root level. But this part is just the frequency work. We're clearing, we're balancing, we're harmonizing. The second part is realigning with our gifts. It's the architect, the blueprint, creating. Who are we? What do we believe in? Calling back our sacred gifts, creating space for them to arrive. All again, frequency work. And then the third part, and oh, I'm sorry, and the second part is on 8-8, the actual Lionsgate portal, 8 being the number of infinite abundance, prosperity, infinity. And that one's on Zoom and it's recorded. And then the second one is on the 12th, which your event's on the 13th. So the 12th is the closing of the portal. And also, it is a new moon in Leo. It's eclipse season. So it is an eclipse that day. And eclipses, if you're not familiar, they're cosmic corrections, I call them. They come in and they kind of clear out what wasn't working, whether you were ready for it to be cleared or not, and then shows you what's aligned. So that one is really about the gentle integration, the nervous system support, being held, being supported. We'll do some somatic work in that to ground in everything that we shifted, changed, brought forth, cleared, and just really allow for full embodiment. So that was all that came forth, and I really could talk about it for hours, but I felt like that was enough to give you kind of a inkling of what I'm doing. But none of this would have happened if I hadn't trusted, started to believe, listened to my own inner guidance. It was clearing out all of those other voices and going within and hearing that still small voice within to allow myself to show up, make myself visible.
Yeah. So good. And I'm so glad because, like I said, I've gotten to experience little tastes of your gifts, and it is absolutely a gift to me, to the world. So I'm so glad that you're sharing this. And if people are listening and they're like, oh my gosh, that sounds so intriguing. Yes. Where can they learn about it? Where can they sign up?
On my website, Illuminate with Colleen, and I'm sure you're gonna put these links in, like I'll send you the links for it. Illuminate with Colleen. I have that on there. It is 3 sessions for the price of one. They all build on each other. And I also have it on I'm trying to think where I put it, on my Instagram and my link tree. There's multiple different ways. And you can also reach out to me directly. And I would be happy to jump on like a 15, 20-minute connection call and explain it a little bit more, because I know I gave a lot of information very quickly. When I get passionate, I talk faster.
Yes. I love it. Yes, we will definitely put all the links. And one thing that you shared that I really want to highlight that I've really been practicing the past many years, and I feel like it's so valuable. Like you talked about sitting down, asking spirit to guide you of what wanted to come through right now. And every event that I do, I really see as an opportunity to do that because when I think about activating your vision, a vision for your life, a direction that you want to head, if we don't press pause and make space to receive that information, it can be so easy to just keep going, keep humming along with life, keep you know, in that comfortable, well-worn path versus creating an interruption to ask yourself, what do you really desire? So sometimes life will throw an interruption at you if you're really not listening, and it's just like, yo, this is not your path. We're going to do something different about this. So if you don't want to wait until that moment where like your life blows up and a huge storm comes, you can also create intentional space to be open to receive these messages. And whatever your spiritual practice, inclination, anything like that, what I really think about this is just making this space. It's like having a blank sheet of paper in front of you. For me, there's like nothing more exciting than like a giant piece of blank paper to really ask of like what wants to come through me? What do I really desire for my life? What do I really desire to share? So, thank you for calling that out of like it was that moment or that was part of the process for you of asking to be guided to what wanted to come through. And then you got to receive all of this inspiration and you chose to do something with it. You chose to create this, you chose to offer this. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Thank you for receiving.
Yes. So if you're listening and you're intrigued, absolutely go sign up for that. And then once you're like activated and opened up to all of these beautiful energies, then join us for Activate Your Vision on August 13th. And that event is really going to be about creating space to ask yourself, what do you desire in life? And to start dreaming in this future oriented way. And this is not about needing to have the perfect plan, needing to have everything all figured out. Part of the inspiration for me for that event was that I used to work for Lululemon and we did these vision and goal setting sessions on our like first day of training where we started thinking about this 10-year vision into the future and just feeling into this person and then broke it down into these like 10-year, 5-year, 1-year goals. And I came across all these goal sheets the other day and saw so many seeds of dreams that I had planted 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And it was just this like profound moment for me about the power of declaring things out loud. So, if that speaks to you, if you would love to activate your vision and declare it out loud in a room full of other people who are willing to pursue and imagine big dreams, come join me on August 13th. And you can find all the information for that at ginakesbar.com/vision. So I'm so excited for you of like this declaration of like this podcast is going to be a catalyst. These offerings, like I'm recommitting to my business, I'm recommitting to my purpose, to sharing my gifts, because there is something I believe profound that happens when we say those things out loud, when we're witnessed by other people, when we're doing the belief work, when we're doing the somatic work. I feel like it's impossible to not move in that direction. We're creating so much energy, so much momentum. So I'm so excited to see how that drives you and how you ride all of these beautiful waves.
Thank you. I'm excited to see too. I keep getting the one message, and I wanted to share this too before we segue out of this. For me personally, and I feel like this is going to be a collective thing too. It's going to be important for my clients. I have been so solely focused on my healing, on my healing, on my healing. Must heal, must do, must do, must do. That I have forgotten to play.
Mm.
I've forgotten to have fun. I was Queen Colleen, infamous party girl in my former life in this lifetime. And when Lou died, I shut that all down and I became this spiritual person. In my mind, this spiritual person did not have fun. And like I love watching you go out and do your, you host these dances, but I know you're also enjoying it. You're the embodiment of like everything you practice. So I'm really curious to see where following that spark leads. And maybe we'll have a podcast down the road about that. But
Yes.
I'm speaking this out loud on this podcast that I, Colleen Kimberly Boersma, am going to play more, find find out what I love to do and what that looks like for me. So, because I think that's going to be a really important part of integration too.
Yes. And that's such an important reminder. I remind myself of that too, for sure, lately. It's like, being able to let ourselves enjoy this process can also be so much a part of the integration. And no, we don't have to just like think so hard and effort so hard. And like, there's so much that can just unfold when we allow ourselves to play, to enjoy, to do things that are fun. And I know like Leo is about that energy too, right? Of just this like,
I'm a Leo moon. Why am I fighting this? Right? Like, yeah.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, is there any last intuitive message or offering that's coming through you right now that you want to share with folks listening?
Yeah, I'm really hearing the words. And I would love to share a little practice with you, like a little transmission, if you will,
Hmm.
activation.
Hmm.
But just to everybody listening, if you're going through a struggle, through a season, remember it's a season, it's temporary. It might not feel like it. But I'm really hearing to impart the words. You are worthy. You are enough. You are this beautiful drop of mystery. And you matter. What you do matters. And you are needed and necessary on this planet. So thank you for being here. And I would love to end with a little transmission and activation, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
I'm going to combine a few different of the modalities that I do, but to anybody listening, if you're listening in the car, pause this, wait, wait till you get home. These are really gentle energies, but this is still nothing that I ever desire anybody driving to listen to. I would like you to make yourself supremely comfortable in your space, in a quiet space if you can. And let's just start first, taking the hands to the arms and just rubbing the hands up and down the arms. You can gently shut the eyes. Just this is to start to create, this is a somatic response to create safety in the body. It's called havening. And it's just letting your nervous system, your vagus nerve, know that it's safe, you are held. Just doing this a few more times until you feel complete. Then you can release the arms down. And again, only gently closing the eyes if it feels safe to you in your body. Let's take a few centering, relaxing breaths together. Let's just take a deep breath in through the nose together. Exhale, sigh the breath out gently. Take another deep breath in. Each breath brings us deeper into our body. Exhale, sigh the breath out. This time, bring your awareness to your heart space, that beautiful, sacred heart of yours. And with that awareness, take another deep breath in, breathing into the heart as if it were a lung. Exhale. Just allow yourself to relax, to soften. Again, knowing that you are safe, you are held, you are supported. As I call in our teams of light from the company of heaven on high, placing a Merkaba of divine source light and protection around us. Again, you are worthy of receiving this. You are safe to receive this. And I'm just going to start with an Arcturian frequency for nervous system support. So I want you to see, sense, feel, or just know that you're being swaddled in this beautiful weighted blanket of trust, of safety, of love. It is wrapping around you. It is balancing the nervous system, the vagus nerve. We're just going to let that activate. And I'm going to run some sacred activations, one of the other healing modalities that I work with. And the first one I'm going to run is called the Lord Metatron Sacred Activation. And this sacred activation activates the sacred geometric codes in your DNA. It will increase your awareness and communication with the higher realms, with spirit, with God, divine source creator, whoever you pray to. And it will also help you to navigate Earth's changes with greater ease. We're going through so many cosmic planetary shifts in the collective, personally. And Archangel Metatron is somebody I work with very deeply. So just breathe and receive. As it activates these 18 strands of DNA within you. It's like a cosmic awakening. And as that runs in the background, I'm going to run now. One now called Stonehenge, Avebury Stonehenge, and this activation increases your healing and intuitive abilities. It allows you to more easily communicate with your higher self, your mighty I am presence, your high holy self, your guides, angels, spirit, the universe. And it helps to activate your clair abilities, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, all the different clairs, so that you can have that clear communication, so that you can hear that still small voice within. So as Avebury Stonehenge runs with Lord Metatron, again, just breathe. You're being swaddled deeper and deeper into that nervous system safety. You are loved, you are held, you are safe, you are supported. And now I'm running one called Moses Code Tree of Life. And this is just repairing any energetic lines in your tree of life. It rejuvenates mind, body. It helps with recharging yourselves, improves cognition and memory, helping you to have more vibrancy, more vitality, more energy. And it really helps you to manifest your dreams into reality. So breathing in all these beautiful activations to support your soul, your growth, your truth. And these frequencies are very gentle. They meet you where you are. They can do no harm. They have their own natural intelligence and intuition. So they meet you exactly where you need in the quantum field. And they work very quickly. And the final one that I'm going to run is just to harmonize and balance all of your chakras, all of those beautiful energy centers connected to your endocrine system. So just harmonizing, balancing as I run Fruit of Light, sacred activation, making sure that they're calibrating at the desired speed for your 7 subtle bodies, for your physical body, your etheric body, your emotional body, your mental body, your causal, your spiritual, divine bodies, everything calibrated, harmonized, balanced, supported, wrapped in this tapestry with this beautiful nervous system, safety, love, tapped into this beautiful Leo heart medicine, activated by this Lionsgate portal. I'm asking Sirius to come in, and the beautiful star Sirius and the Sirians, the galactic beings from Sirian and the Arcturians, to come in and help harmonize and integrate everything you receive today. So I'm running a frequency for ease, grace, and that everything is gently harmonized and integrated into your system so that you may expand your capacity to receive more love, more joy, more connection, more health, more wealth, more vibrancy, more vitality, whatever it is that your soul craves and desires. Allowing that to be blanketed around you, sealed with Christ consciousness and happiness and joy, the highest frequencies that we carry, sealed in cosmic love. And with your eyes still closed, if they are still closed, bringing the hands back and just rubbing up and down your arms, feeling this into your body, into the physical body. And if you want to repeat after me, I am loved, I am safe, I am supported, I am worthy, I am deserving. Bringing the hands to the heart. I believe in myself. I trust myself. I value myself. And I love myself. Mm, just letting that all land. And I just want to take a moment to thank Source, God Creator, and all the beautiful energies that just came forth, and all the beautiful light beings that supported us. And for you who are listening, and for you, Gina, and for myself for showing up today. You wink, gently blink your eyes open when you are ready.
So beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm like tingling and just in this beautiful space. So if you listen to this, if you followed along on this journey with us, I hope that is seeping into your own body, blood, bones, in whatever way that you need. Thank you for sharing that powerful transmission. And if you want to experience more of that, absolutely go find Colleen. Check out this Lionsgate portal activation. I'm sure it's going to be such an incredible experience. And Colleen, just thank you so much for being here with us today.
You. I would like to just add a little information about that transmission.
Yeah.
Just please make sure you drink lots of water. Okay, like those were just really they were the foundational practices that we use for like if you do the Lionsgate with me, you will receive more of those again because we really do those for every session. And it just deepens each time, but just drink lots of water. It may bring up some emotions for you, when we do the work to clear these outdated beliefs and activate it can bring up old emotions and they're coming up to be seen, to be felt, to be witnessed. It may bring up nothing, but if it does, just know that that's normal. You are just moving through that, but water will help to move all of that energy, water emotions. And that I'm here and I would love to talk to you and I would love to connect with you if you have any questions or anything. So thank you. And I'm excited for your event on the 13th. I will be there even if it's through the ethers and I have to watch the recording, but I'm really excited. So thank you for this opportunity to share my story and share where I am. I'm still figuring it out, y'all, but I have faith. I believe.
My gosh, I love it. Thank you so much. I can't wait to share this episode and for all of us to go through this cosmic time. I definitely feel like it's a portal of energy that we're about to go through. So I'm so excited for it. So, all right, my friend, I will see you soon.
Thank you.